Hey, Unbothered family. I hope I found you all as unbothered as you were before. So, this is going to be another part of the series America is the Old World. Now, because the story of Queen Califia, the ancient empire of Zai, and also the California blacks, is so long, this part right here is going to take at least 2 parts. That's at the very least. It might go up to 3, so make sure you get ready. Okay? Now, in the continental United States of America, there were Africans who came before slavery, before Columbus, and thousands of years before Jesus Christ. In many cases, these blacks and other indigenous nations established thriving civilizations in ancient America. Queen Califia and the California blacks were one such ancient black nation. Now, yes, people are going to tell you that it's a myth, it's a story, it's all made up. But follow me. Reigning over the empire of Zai in the ancient kingdom of Utla, the nation of Atlan, was the great queen of gold and diamonds, ruler of the California blacks. Queen Califia, decorated warrior, general, mother, was the grand and beautiful royal leader in the beloved, wealthy, and powerful land of the blacks. What was this land of the blacks, you ask? Well, the land of the blacks was a civilization with an abundance of natural resources: gold, diamonds, vast quantities of precious stones and metals, with territory spanning thousands and thousands of miles throughout California. From the coast of San Francisco to Bahia, Mexico, as far inland as Colorado, Utah, and all the Pacific Ocean island nations, including Hawaii and Australia. Places where most of the original inhabitants were Aborigine, black, and brown people of color. Queen Califia was a powerful general queen, a strategic opponent, who commanded and maintained a fleet of ships while ushering in a time of peace in all surrounding lands. The robust California blacks were master trainers and lovers of exotic animals with developed skills. They were able to teach themselves to defend, utilizing a real force of domesticated and trained griffins and eagles, snakes, tigers, and bears, along with other species native to California and Africa. These unusual creatures were trained to protect the land and its people. So, beloved and also respected and powerful was the queen. She could project her imperial will over the seas of the Mediterranean, a master of communication and commerce, trading gold, tip spears, gold, diamonds, precious stones, furs, food, plants, rare birds, and animals, as well as maintaining cultural and training contacts with Africa, Australia, and the Pacific Islands. This great lady ruler also successfully defended her empire during wars in the Mediterranean Sea and Anatolia, as well as against the Byzantine Empire and in southern Europe. Queen Califia and the mighty empire of the California blacks, a people whose civilization and history has been lost to time and space through a deliberate, destructive conspiracy of lies, secrets, and deaths perpetrated by evil invaders of ancient America. To say they came before Columbus is an understatement. They came thousands and thousands of years before. Many historians, including the renowned expert and father of ancient African studies, Dr. Van Sertima, author of the best-selling book They Came Before Columbus, David Imhotep, Ph.D., The First Americans Were Black, and Sheikh Anta Diab, The African Origin of Civilization, Myth or Reality, among many, all concur and prove that the first Africans started arriving in ancient times between 56,000 to 100,000 years ago. It is now also an archaeological fact that the true original people of the Americas included many nations, and the Black Californians were one of them, as descendants of the Olmecs, West Africa Manding Egyptians, and the first emperor of China. Other ancient civilizations occupying California in the distant past include members of Black Mojave and Wichita mound builders, as well as the following: ancient indigenous black nations of America, California blacks Olmecs, Wichita mound builders from Louisiana and the Midwest, Yamasee from the Southeast, Iroquois, Cherokee, Blackfoot, Pequot, and Mohegans from Connecticut, Darientite from Panama. The mighty California blacks were a powerful, military, savvy civilization, with shipbuilders, priests, scientists, traders, and empire buildings. And these elite seafarers traveled all over the globe, trading in gold, tipped spears, and precious stones. Masters of commerce, this highly sophisticated society practiced as part of their religious ceremonies astronomy, taking or tracking celestial Sirius star systems, sacred science, geometry, and mathematics. They were nautical wizards of longitude, latitude, master builders of complex housing, political systems, and captains of the open seas, as well as arts and music enthusiasts. They were also worshippers of the Egyptian gods Horus, Osiris, Isis, Wajid, sun god Ra, and the universality of the concept of Ma'at, and how ethical behavior was the norm. The goddess Ma'at represents truth, justice, righteousness, and world order, the supreme ethical paradigm that dictated the behavior of the California blacks and the civilizations of ancient America. The California blacks of the Z Empire was ruled by a succession of queens, as was the custom in many ancient African nations. This unfamiliar practice, observed by the naive Spaniards, is surely how the myth of the nymph Amazon queen legend, who hated and unalived all baby boys and men, came into existence. Their matriarch societies were based on maternal values. Descendants and relationships were determined through the female line, a practice that was very common in West Africa and throughout the ancient world. And this remarkable, multicultural, highly spiritual, religious civilization thrived for thousands of years and is duly noted in several recent discoveries, including ancient cave art dating back tens of thousands of years. Over 100,000 cave and rock art pictures, symbols, and ancient artifacts can be found at Crystal Lake, California. Now, a restricted United States Army base, and thousands of newly discovered cave and rock art found in 2014 in the highlands of Mexico. The photos of recently discovered cave art show one thing for sure. They were not a hunter-gatherer tribe, but a complex, highly advanced, thriving civilization that prospered way before the arrival of any Europeans, Indians, or Clovis people. Through our high-tech in-house CGI experiment conducted recently on ancient cave art, we were able to back engineer some of the ancient art. What they discovered was truly amazing. CGI graphic art techniques were used thousands of years ago. Some art appears to be created using computer-generated technology and 21st century animation. What is revealed is intriguing and very surprising. A unique first-hand glimpse at life in ancient America. Some have low pixelation. However, all are in beautiful color, depicting cave art, pictures of worship, sacred ancient and Egyptian symbols, including the cross, snakes, gods, marriage ceremonies, underwater fishing, cave diving, scuba mask, electricity, guns, gold mining, and other high-tech capabilities. The California blacks lived by a strict moral ethics code, living in harmony with the people, animals, land, sea, earth, sun, and heavenly planets. Their wood-built homes, official dwellings, and structures were arranged in grandeur and complicity, from holy sites, cliffs residents, monumental buildings, scared caves, and mounds that were enhanced and decorated magnetically in silk, gold, diamonds, and precious stones. Some appear to have illumination, electricity. Queen Califia and the California blacks were all directly or indirectly related to our descendants of the Olmecs of South America. West African Nile Valley kings of Kush, Emperor Ramesses and the Greats, and the Yellow Emperor Shangdi of China. The black mound builders of the Weshita Moors nation and independent civilization are also descendants of the Olmecs, who successfully lived alongside of their cousins, the California blacks, in peace, while engaging in boat building, seafaring, trade, and commerce for thousands of years. The history of the original black people of California is not mentioned in most American history books. The term Indian is used to classify all of the people found in the Americas when Columbus arrived. Yet, Columbus and his men, as well as people like Balboa and Peter Mattier, do mention Ethiopians in the Caribbean's Darien region of Panama, the coast of South America, California, and other areas. According to these invaders, these black indigenous people were the descendants of Ham, a Bible reference. It was specifically those with black skin and kinky or curly hair that the Spaniards and other Europeans were instructed to capture, unalive, and/or enslave rather than Christianize them. Based on the edict of the mid-1400s, A History of the African Olmecs, published by First Book Library. The black Californians were not American Indians, but indigenous people of African ancestry. As a mixed culture, they closely resembled today's African Americans and Malaysians from the Pacific Islands. The history of the black Californians appeared to be conveniently erased, ignored, shrouded in mystery, myth, and ignorance, all in an effort to keep our history obscure by not mentioning that the original people of California and America were black and American Indians whose civilizations existed together peacefully thousands of years before Columbus. Yet, the black Californians are not unknown to the Spanish invaders and colonists, whose descendants are part of the population of Mexico, California, and the southwestern United States, and who are no different from the settlers of colonies from Spain, England, France, Portugal, and elsewhere. In fact, the Spaniards, who mentioned the legend of Queen Califia, who ruled a land at the edge of the world, where the women were warriors and decked in gold, was in fact a black California Olmec queen, descendants of great kings of Kush and queens of West Africa, Olmecs, Nubia, Egypt, and China. The California blacks' kingdom of Atala, or Atlan, California, numbered over 10 million, with the population exceeding 25 million, including Pacific Island nations, Hawaii, and South America. The Spanish explorers along the California coast were among the first to see and inquire about the black Californians. Upon arriving along the California shores, they saw a number of black people with ships. They asked the Indians who they were, and the Indians replied that these black curly-haired people were of the land of California and traded with people across the sea by sailing back and forth. Where were these black Californians going in the Pacific? They were trading with island nations, people in Hawaii, and throughout the South Pacific, where the black population has always been very large and widespread. In fact, when Magellan arrived in the Philippines, there were large numbers of negritos who were well organized and had a strong population. Black traders and black Africoid who had been in the Americas for thousands of years were also spread in the Mississippi Valley, eastern United States, Mexico, and the Caribbean. Among the groups were the Wichita, the Yamasi, the Gale, the Califunami, the Truvadas of Brazil, Afro-Descendiente of Panama, the Choco of Colombia, Olmec, Mende, Shai of Mexico, West African, Egyptian, Black Chinese, and Ganani of South America, among others. Rafinesque mentions a number of black groups in his work. The primitive black nations of America Friends of the Society of Philadelphia in 1833. One thing is for certain: the Europeans, Americans, and Spaniards never mistook American Indians for Black Americans for a second. They always referred to blacks, Negro, African types, as Moors or blacks or Ethiopians, as the people of the Queen of Sheba. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed yourself. And if you stayed this long, I appreciate your time. Thank you. It's very valuable. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And don't worry, I'll be back for part 2.